never disappoints.
Well,
Or what you say.
at this point of being, I have evidence for it.
Oh,
So this
yeah.
is what I've been wanting to talk about. I didn't think the spring race was as good as it was in years past, or the last 2 years, or last year. The year before that was 550, so it was meh. But and I did not think last night, or not last night, whatever fucking night it was, Sunday night, was as good as we've had in years past at the Southern 500 with the high horsepower, low downforce package. And I have a quote from Denny Hamlin that says exactly what I thought and what I saw the entire race.
Okay, if it's the quote I'm thinking about, you never said anything about this, but okay, go ahead.
Last night in Xfinity, there was like 2.5 seconds of fall off.
Yeah,
the
you
last
said nothing
15
about
lap run.
this.
I said something about this in the spring, and I was watching this the whole time. I said it was aero the whole time.
No, it was an error. It was tire fall off.
I
That was
think
the
it was
problem.
like a second for us in a 15-lap run. The speeds are so fast and so much on throttle time, it's just an aero game.
Yeah. Well, okay, go ahead. Finish what you're saying.
Well, that's the quote. So, yes, it is about tire fall off.
Yeah.
But also, it's still an aero game.
Yeah, but I
It's
think
more of an aero game than it has been before at Darlington, and it has been for most of the tracks that were 750 last year. As a whole, for the most part, tracks that were 750 a year ago have not been as good this year. It's the tracks that were 550 a year ago that have been significantly better. And I think that has masked some of that.
I feel like Richmond was better this year than it was last year.
Marginally.
Like, Martinsville was significantly worse. Like
we can take
two
Martinsville
races,
out of it.
Two races couldn't be further apart. Last year's Martinsville versus this year's Martinsville. I think Darlington, I don't think it was any worse than it was last year. I think, well, I think I think last year was probably better. You're probably right there. But I do think that we could overcome this arrow disadvantage that they have by having more tire fall off. And I'm willing to bet Goodyear brings a softer tire next year because now they have a notebook for it for both races at Darlington.
Yes, I agree with you. I think we've jumped the gun too much on how great the racing has been this year. Because I think we've compared the intermediate tracks directly to 550 races because that's the most recent thing in our memory. And admittedly, the 750 races weren't always fantastic with the next or the Gen 6 car, but so those have been significant improvements. I just don't think like Gateway. I thought that race was okay. Like it's just
Gateway was not good.
Yeah, Gateway was not great, but we had a bunt.
It was okay. You're right saying it was okay. It wasn't terrible.
No, it wasn't terrible, but it was okay. And I felt that way about a lot of the races. Even Richmond, you mentioned, I think it was okay. I never went to a day race at Richmond with the Gen 6 car, so I can't say for certain how much better it really was. Obviously, it was definitely better than the night race. I'll give that for sure. But I'll throw Martinsville out there completely. That was worst set of scenario, and
okay,
you really got to fix something.
Okay, we're kind of off subject here. What about this? Not the spring race. What about this race? Did you not like?
It looked like guys would get two guys and then get stuck in the arrow, and it's not like arrow wasn't. It's not like arrow was completely out of the question before. But it never really felt like that in years past. You would get all this fall off, and yes, admittedly, that is tire wear, but you can still, with the way the diffuser is at a track as narrow as Darlington is, it's gotten wider throughout the years, but it's a track as narrow as Darlington is, you can really position yourself. It felt more like a 550 race to me than last year's race.
So you didn't think this was a good race?
I thought it was an okay race.
Okay.
I don't think it was the great barn burner that I've been hearing from a lot of other people.
I think you are right in the fact that it was definitely more of an arrow race than I maybe would like. But I do think there were varying elements of this race that did make it the barn burner that people thought. There were because I feel like there were elements in this race that overshadowed the arrow side of things. I feel like there's more to talk about. There's more excitement in this race than there was, you know, glaring issues with the arrow. I get what you're saying. I still you could pass. You could pass a whole lot more than you could with 550. Um, so I don't think that's a fair statement to say it was like a 550 race because I don't think it was at all. I
I'm
mean,
not saying I thought it
you
was
couldn't
like a
pass.
five. I'm not saying it was like I thought it was like a
I
550.
mean,
I
you
thought it
just
was.
said that.
I said I thought it was closer to that than last year's race.
It 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 to me, I didn't. I mean, the arrow you fought arrow last year, um, for sure. I mean, Richmond was a prime example. That was the reason they couldn't pass at Richmond. They had more tire fall off last year at Darlington, so that's why passing wasn't as much at a premium. This year, I really think if you just have a little bit more tire fall off, we see probably the same race we saw in 2021. Because Daniel Suarez drove from the back to the front. He had fast race cars move forward, and slow race cars didn't. And I thought you saw guys be able to claw back and get back if they lost track position, they were able to get it back. Not as much as maybe you'd like, but they were able to get it back. And I think with a little bit more tire deg, I think we see a great Darlington race without all these other elements that happened in this race.
Yeah.
Um,
So I guess the reason I'm bringing this up is because I just don't want to get caught up in over. I want to see a problem and bring it up because I
yeah,
think
no, you're
yeah,
100% right.
and if you compare that specifically to I guess just the Xfinity race, I mean, compare that to the way the 17 car came through. Obviously, he was clearly the class of the field, but if that had happened in the Cup race in the class of the field, I guess say Martin Truex got caught a lap down for something, I don't think he would have been able to come through the field like that. And obviously the Cup field's maybe a little tighter, but
Yeah, I mean, no, I mean, tire wear, definitely. Um, yeah, arrow for sure. Field, definitely not as tight. Um, you have B and C level drivers going against A plus level driver and Kyle Larson. But yeah, I mean you're 100% right because we do need to look at it because there will be a day if we don't change anything. There will be a day where we have a race where nothing happens, and then there's going to be an absolute panic as to why this happened. So if we don't acknowledge these issues now, then we won't ever fix them.
yeah,
Um,
that's the only reason I brought up like I guess the entire season's worth of
yeah,
racing in general, just because like in a lot of ways it has been more exciting and it's been more entertaining. But I just think we need to keep it in perspective. Like why was this race so much more exciting? Why was this race maybe a little duller? I just think we need
yeah.
to just remember
I still,
we need to keep working on this.
yeah. I mean, for sure. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I thought both Darlington races this year were very good. I found myself entertained throughout the entire race, and it wasn't a bunch of just bullshit chaos. Um, it was thoroughly entertaining. We saw Kyle Busch and Martin Truex trade the lead multiple times, and it wasn't just because of pit strategy or who got off pit road first. You know, we saw Martin be able to pass Kyle, and we saw Kyle pass Martin back at the end of a run. That's something we didn't see in the 550, and that's something that we saw with the 2021 package. So I feel like there's work to do, but I don't. I think it was better than an okay race. I think it was a very good race.
I guess my perspective, I hold the
Here's what
Southern
you do.
I hold the Southern 500 in Darlington in such high prestige that I'm overly critical. Maybe that's
Well, and here's something you also do. If you are unable to look at a race, if you see one thing that is wrong, you are unable to look at anything else.
I didn't say I didn't have a good time during this race.
I know, but I'm just saying I've noticed this as a pattern this year. If like there's one thing wrong, you only focus on this one thing. And that's I'm not like trying to like be a dick. I'm just saying like
It's fair.
you notice something and then so you keep noticing it. And I think that overshadows like and kind of takes away from everything else that you're looking at. You
That's fair.
overanalyze a lot of shit. And I'm more of like just fucking dumb like oh race cars go in circles. Oh they did a thing. Um so I think that's just our different viewpoints as far as how we watch a race.
Yeah,
And I think that's why that's the way it is.
that's
But
fair.
no, I thought it was a great race. Thought it was an okay race. So where are we putting it on the bitchin' scale? Where are you putting it?
Uh, I'm gonna put it at the pickle game.
You're gonna put it at what?
Pickle gang is awesome. Okay, that's what I mean.
Okay, so you thought it was an awesome race.
No, I thought I had an awesome time during the weekend.
Okay, all right, okay.
Okay, the
I
race
guess
itself.
yeah.
Okay, the pickle gang did. I rewatched it. The pickle gang did do poorly at the exchange of gas tanks during the pit stop. They probably missed Ryan Ellis out on several gallons of fuel
Okay.
by a clumsy.
I'm gonna put this race at Ryan Ellis's paint scheme. Okay, well, okay,
The
maybe not.
greatest thing ever.
The greatest thing ever. He didn't have the number, so you kind of got to put it down a notch or two. But they did
Okay.
have the. They had. We'll put it like this. It had all the elements of a great race. It didn't. It wasn't 100% perfect, but it had all the elements. Like it had the right contingency sponsor fonts. It had all the small details that make a great race, but it wasn't 100% the greatest race ever.
I
If
like
that
that
makes any
analogy.
sense.
That's fantastic,
Thank you,
actually.
thank you, thank
that's
you,
that's fantastic.
thank you.
And a little pickle on the back.
And a little pickle on the back. Yeah, yeah, George. I'll send you the picture. um,